Okie dokie. Today, we're going to learn about the influence of Atlantis on ancient Egypt and the pyramids. First, we'll talk about the mythology behind the lost city of Atlantis and how this legendary place has captured the imagination for thousands of years. Then we'll explore the theories that suggest a connection between Atlantean survivors and the ancient Egyptians, including the possibility of advanced Atlantean technology influencing the construction of the iconic pyramids. So Plato first mentioned Atlantis in his works Timaeus and Critias. According to Plato, Atlantis was a mighty and advanced nation that existed about 9,000 years before his time. In the legend, Atlantis was located beyond the Pillars of Hercules, which many believe refers to the Strait of Gibraltar. The civilization was described as a utopia, brimming with incredible knowledge and technology. Atlantis was said to possess unbelievably rich lands, magnificent palaces, and a powerful navy. Its people were wealthy and wise, living in harmony with nature and one another, at least for the time. Plato's account tells us that the Atlanteans grew arrogant, and their moral decay led to their downfall. Their advanced society ultimately succumbed to greed and corruption, and as a result, the gods became angry and decided to punish Atlantis. In a single day and night of misfortune, the island supposedly sank into the ocean, vanishing without a trace. Plato's intention may have been symbolic rather than historical, however. He possibly used Atlantis as a narrative to illustrate his philosophical ideas about politics, morality, and society. Despite this, the legend has fueled countless theories and expeditions searching for the lost continent, island, place of Atlantis. While factual evidence for Atlantis remains elusive, its myth endures, inspiring books, movies, and academic debates. Plato's intention was not just symbolic. There's a pretty decent article out there in regards to where Plato learned this from. And essentially what happened was, so just to give a little bit of background on the whole Plato-Atlantis thing. So Plato described in detail how he first learned about Atlantis from friends and relatives. For the rest of his life, he was fascinated by the subject. He continued to search for more information, and he was able to consult with learned individuals, including students of Pythagoras, who were acquainted with the historical lore when the Western world's extensive libraries were destroyed, like Alexandria. Proclus, in the 5th century AD, wrote that Plato went to Egypt where he talked with a variety of priests about Atlantis. He sold edible oils, possibly olive oil, to the Egyptians to pay for the journey. Crantor, who was a student of Plato's, went to Egypt and visited the Temple of Neith, where priests showed him a pillar covered with writings about the history of Atlantis. The translation of the column agreed completely with Plato's story. I believe it was in the Socratic dialogues. Anyways, Plato refrained from writing his 2 dialogues about Atlantis until just before he died. As he neared the end of his life, he wrote about Atlantis in an effort to ensure that the history of the civilization would be preserved, even though it endangered his life. Plato received some of his information from priests in southern Italy who were members of secret brotherhoods who swore him to secrecy. In the past, these mystery schools keep wisdom from those who are not initiated into their society. It helped to ensure the safety of their intellectual treasures during perilous times when marauders were pillaging the land. Of course, it's a way to control the general public as well. In some situations, the punishment for disclosing sacred hidden knowledge was death. Since Plato was dying, it didn't matter, so he wrote about it. And I'm pretty sure that they were published after his death so that there was nothing that could be done about it, and probably published in secret or for a time, because people that would publish that stuff were also going to be the focus of these secret societies. Anyways, now we have Plato's dialogues. There's a book called Atlantis, Insights from a Lost Civilization that you can check out, but that's where I got this information from. All right, moving on. There are some intriguing ideas out there that believe that there were interactions between Egypt and Atlantis. According to various theories, when Atlantis vanished, some survivors escaped the disaster and made their way to Egypt. These survivors were believed to have brought with them advanced knowledge and technology like mathematics, astronomy, engineering, and architecture. which could have played a crucial role in the development of ancient Egyptian civilization. One of the key points of this theory is the idea that the advanced techniques used to construct the pyramids of Giza were too sophisticated for the Egyptians to have developed on their own at that time. Instead, these techniques might have been shared by the Atlanteans, who were said to be far more advanced. The precision with which the pyramids were built, the alignment with specific stars, and the sheer scale of construction have led some to wonder whether an outside influence was involved. Similarities between the mythologies and symbols of both civilizations add more fuel to this theory. For instance, the symbol of the Eye of Ra in Egyptian mythology bears a resemblance to the design and symbolism found in Tales of Atlantis. Some suggest that these symbols might represent shared knowledge or a common origin. Another theory speculates that the Atlanteans contributed to the Egyptian fascination with the afterlife in their complex burial practices. It is said that the advanced understanding of spiritual concepts and the soul's journey after death, which plays a significant role in Egyptian culture, might have origins in Atlantean beliefs. The historical and archaeological evidence that firmly connects Atlantis to Egypt remains elusive, like always. The idea that such a connection even exists is interesting. I mean, what other ancient civilizations have interacted and shared knowledge long before recorded history? Whether through shared technology, symbols, mythology, or spiritual beliefs, the potential connections between Atlantis and Egypt offer a glimpse into how interconnected our ancient past might have been. How did the ancient Egyptians manage to build the pyramids that have stood the test of time? Was there an influence from the legendary Atlanteans behind it? The Great Pyramid of Giza consists of 2.3 million blocks of stone, each weighing 2.5 to 15 tons. These stones were transported from quarries, some of which were miles away, and placed with remarkable accuracy. Even with today's technology, replicating such a feat would be a monumental task. One of the most popular theories is that the ancient Egyptians used a straight or circular ramp to move these massive stones. However, some suggest that the number of workers and the time required would have been impractical. And this is where the idea of Atlantean influence comes in. The myth suggests that survivors from the advanced civilizations of Atlantis brought with them knowledge and techniques far beyond what the Egyptians were known to possess. These techniques may have involved some form of advanced machinery or even lost technology. Researchers have proposed that the Atlanteans might have used a system of levers, pulleys, or even anti-gravity methods to lift and place the stones. And while this sounds like science fiction, the lack of concrete evidence leaves room for these possibilities. Another aspect to consider is the alignment and geographical precision of the pyramids. So the Great Pyramid is aligned almost perfectly with the cardinal points, north, south, east, and west. It's also positioned at the center of Earth's landmass. Some believe that this level of precision indicates knowledge of astronomy and mathematics could have originated from a more advanced civilization like Atlantis. There are hieroglyphs and ancient texts that hint at the involvement of beings or gods who came across from the seas, bringing wisdom and techniques for pyramid building. These gods may actually have been Atlantean survivors. While this is speculation, it just adds another layer of mystery. The similarities between the pyramids of Egypt and other pyramid structures around the world, such as those in Mesoamerica, gives the idea that there was a global exchange of knowledge in ancient times, which has led some to believe that the Atlanteans played a role in various advanced developments across different civilizations. In essence, there is no definitive evidence that links Atlantis and the construction of the pyramids. The theories and mysteries surrounding these incredible structures just continue to spark curiosity and imagination. Whether it's through lost technology or advanced techniques or even direct contact, they still just remain one of history's biggest mysteries. Another angle to consider is the striking similarities between Atlantean and Egyptian mythologies. In Atlantis, the story describes a society with incredible technical and cultural achievements. In ancient Egypt, they are famed for its architectural and scientific knowledge, particularly the construction of the pyramids. Atlantis is said to have been destroyed by a massive flood, while Egypt also has a flood story in the annual flooding of the Nile River, which was both a blessing for agriculture and a potential source for disaster. Some suggest that these flood myths represent deeper, older shared memories of a catastrophic event. Another parallel is the idea of the afterlife for Atlanteans. Their connection to the sea and the idea of a lost city underwater suggests a journey into the unknown after death. Similarly, the Egyptians had detailed beliefs about the afterlife with intricate practices like mummification and elaborate tombs to prepare for life after death. Also, the flood myth with, the Bible and stuff like that also plays into this whole thing. The symbolisms of both cultures often include depictions of powerful semi-divine rulers. Atlantis had kings who were said to be part god and part human, the Anunnaki types, which isn't too different from the divine pharaohs of Egypt, believed to be gods on earth. And there's also the oral traditions and legends about both civilizations that emphasize a moral lesson. Atlantis was a cautionary tale about hubris and the fall of a once great society, while many Egyptian myths also revolve around moral lessons, good versus evil, and the importance of Ma'at, or cosmic order. These fascinating overlaps might suggest some sort of cultural exchange or shared perspectives, and while we may never know the full extent of their connection, it's, again, another thing to consider when it comes to these ancient stories that we are continually told. In recent years, modern interpretations of Atlantean influence on ancient Egypt have continued to capture people's imaginations in intriguing ways. Books, movies, TV shows have fueled the fascination, giving rise to endless debates and discussions. One popular angle is that Atlantis was a highly advanced civilization that left behind a legacy of incredible knowledge and technology. According to some researchers, this includes sophisticated architectural techniques, which might explain how the pyramids of Giza were constructed with such precision. Then you have pseudoscientific theories, with some claiming that the Atlanteans possessed technologies far beyond what we can even imagine today. Advocates argue that remnants of these technologies can be found in the ancient Egyptian artifacts and construction methods. These include things like the precision of the stone blocks and the astronomical alignments of the pyramid, and this suggests that such feats would have been impossible with the tools known to be available to ancient Egyptians. In addition, some fringe theorists propose that Atlantean refugees fled to Egypt after the island was destroyed, bringing with them their knowledge and expertise. They argue that these refugees assisted the Egyptians in building their iconic monuments, merging their cultural elements with those of the Nile civilization. Popular media plays a significant role in shaping modern interpretations, and we all know that. Documentaries and fictional series often sensationalize the link between Atlantis and Egypt, making the story accessible and thrilling to a bigger audience. This has not only kept the myth alive, it's also inspired a new generation to explore ancient history with a sense of wonder. While mainstream archaeology tends to dismiss these theories as speculative, which they should, they persist in the public imagination. The idea that an ancient lost civilization could have influenced one of humanity's greatest ancient cultures is simply too captivating to let go of entirely. As our technology continues to advance, who knows what new discoveries might eventually provide more concrete connections or debunk these ideas. Ultimately, the evolving interpretations of Atlantean influence remind us that history is an ever-shifting puzzle. As we uncover more pieces, our understanding of the past may change in ways. I don't even know where to begin with this. We have a membership. We have 2 tiers on the membership right now. A couple more tiers are going to be added. More perks will be added. It's a start. So if you guys want, scripts and extra podcasts and all this other stuff, join the community. Let's have some fun. All right. Take care. All right. That's all I got for today. Thanks for listening. If you like it, hit that subscribe button for us. If you don't like it, that's okay too. Other than that, have a great day.